Biggest cone in the world. One of them. Where the biggest cone? Iman of 70 cone. Biggest cone has the 70 cone. Ding 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 du mari di du le le Aleo kala cipollini para nene loli pepelelo kok kesini tung 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 sahur
Do you know what this is made from? Well, okay. So after you've devoured that delicious mango, give the seed a really good wash. No fruity bits left. Now for the fun part. Use a fine comb or brush to gently fluff up those fibers. Let it air dry somewhere with good circulation. Just stay away from direct sunlight. Quick heads up. The type of mango decides just how fuzzy your cool little seed buddy gets. You know what this is made from? Well, okay. So after you've devoured that delicious mango, give the seed a really good wash. No fruity bits left. Now for the fun part. Use a fine comb or brush to gently fluff up those fibers. Let it air dry somewhere with good circulation. Just stay away. Want to make these.
All right, buddy. When I break this boat, you're going to go straight to this cozy little cubby I made for you, okay? Hey! Get back here! All right, buddy. Buddy, when I break this boat, you're gonna go straight to this cozy little cubby I made for you, okay? Hey! Get back here! Alright, buddy, when I break...
My cat pretends she's too weak to spin her exercise wheel, so she makes me come over and give her a push start every single time she wants to use it. She'll sit there and meow helplessly until I get the wheel moving for her. However, her nighttime security camera tells a very different story, revealing that she secretly sprints on it at full speed all by herself when she thinks no one is watching. My cat pretends...
Never do this when your cat is angry. Number 1, don't touch their belly. That's a trap. It's a bomb. Number 2, don't stare at them. You're not gonna win that contest, bro. Number 3, don't try...
खेतों में मछली Which crystal candy is your all-time favorite?
In Grow a Garden, I just wanted some chill breakfast vibes, so I decided to plant a few strawberries. And I saw it. My grandma's favorite, the elder strawberries, chilling in the shop like they own the place. Problem? These antique berries are never in stock. If I waited for restock, I'd turn into a grandma myself, so obviously, I whipped out the Robux card and bought it. Damn, this seed is so expensive it just robbed me legally. It better be worth more than my dignity. I sprinted to my garden, slapped the seed in the dirt, and watered it like my life depended on it. Full growth achieved, dropped all my sprinklers, and slammed my PC shut like a pro farmer. 30 minutes later, I logged back in, and flashbang! These strawberries didn't grow, they stretched. Oh, they look like they're trying to escape the planet. I threw a few mutations on the biggest one, rank its value, and, make it tasty for Grandma. Now, before we see its value, I got one more corrupted kitsune.
When a giant rat steps on a landmine, you might think it would explode, but they're actually too light to set the explosive charge off. And that's why hundreds of these trained rats are released into dangerous fields. You see, rats have an incredible sense of smell, allowing them to detect the scent of explosives buried in the dirt. When they find one, they simply scratch at the ground to mark the spot. Humans then follow behind, safely removing them. When a giant...
for a while. After the girl got pregnant, the cat thought the baby in her belly was its own. It often stayed close to...
When this person cut their car's photo in half and reassembled it to make it smaller, everything fit perfectly. So, they decided to do the same with their real car. They carefully marked the excess parts, cut them off, and firmly joined the ends together. And just like that, their long car became a small, well-proportioned vehicle. But they only got 2 likes. When this person cut their car's photo in half and reassembled it to make it smaller, everything fit perfectly. Japan is lying about ramen because even though ramen is one of Japan's most iconic foods, it didn't actually come from Japan. But what's crazy is that ramen was actually stolen from China, and it didn't blow up in Japan until after World War II. And because ramen came in clutch during that time, it literally saved Japan from starvation. That's why Japan is...
A man had pieces of jade stuck in his eyes, and suddenly his close-up vision turned into X-ray vision. Even though his eyes were covered with bandages, he could still see clearly. He could see exactly what the nurse was wearing and what she wasn't. He could notice every tiny detail on the doctor's face. He quickly said to the doctor, "Take off your mask." The moment the mask came off, everything he had seen turned out to be true. He thought he was hallucinating, but it was real. After returning home, his friend Jake came over with a 50-year-old jade teapot. He planned to sell it. The moment Ethan looked at it, his eyes lit up like gold. He could see the full process of how the teapot was made. It was being claimed as an ancient family heirloom, but Ethan could clearly tell it was just a cheap fake made in a local workshop. His friend couldn't believe it. They went to the antique market, where a shopkeeper said it was worth just $5. As they were leaving, Ethan's eyes landed on a black gourd. His eyes lit up again. He saw that under the black paint there was red hidden inside. He instantly knew this gourd was not ordinary. Ethan bargained and bought it for $800. Just then, a woman arrived and asked to buy that same gourd. The seller said, "Sorry, it's already sold." A rich man nearby didn't like that. He turned to Ethan and said, "Name your price." Ethan didn't say anything. Instead, he took everyone to an antique expert. The rich man, trying to impress the girl, said, "I'll offer $20,000, then added, "It's just a black gourd, can't be worth much." Ethan replied, "It looks black outside, but it's red inside." Everyone was shocked. The antique expert David arrived. He examined the gourd closely and said, "This is a rare 400-year-old treasure." He carefully wiped it with a cloth, revealing the deep red color and ancient carvings underneath. The original seller was filled with regret for letting it go so cheap. The rich man immediately offered $100,000. The seller raised it to $300,000. The rich man came back with $500,000. The seller gave up. And just like that, the gourd Ethan bought for $800 was sold for $500,000. One deal, 1,000 times the profit. A man had pieces of jade stuck.
Okay, your C-chub is restocked, huh? This little grain of rice.
The gun was first dipped in water, then rubbed in sand. After that, most of the guns either jammed or failed to eject their shells. But there was one gun that kept working without any problem. It was the world's most famous rifle, the AK-47. The man who made this gun was named Kalashnikov. He used to drive a tank, but during a battle, his tank was hit by enemy fire and blown up, badly injuring his arm. On the way to the hospital, he noticed that the soldiers' guns weren't working properly. Magazines would get damaged in water, and the springs were so weak that they froze in the cold. Such guns could cost lives. That's when the idea of making his own gun came to his mind. After recovering, he went to his old machine workshop and said he wanted to build a new gun. He had good knowledge of machines, so they gave him a small room. In just 3 days, he designed the first AK-47. His hand still hadn't healed properly, so he took help from a few workers. Together, they worked hard and built the first AK-47. Now it was time to test it. A worker picked up the gun and fired at a drum. The bullet went straight through. Then he fired repeatedly, and every shot hit perfectly. The power of the gun was proven. After this, Kalashnikov went to the army office to get the gun approved. But as soon as the guards saw his gun, they mistook him for a terrorist and caught him. Later, when an officer tested the gun himself, he was shocked. It was better than all the others. But according to the rules, the gun could only be approved if it won the annual shooting competition. The officer called a general. The general also tested the gun and was very impressed. The general told Kalashnikov to participate in the competition on behalf of the army. He went to the Arms Institute in Moscow, where he got a separate room. But in the very first test, his gun failed and was rejected. He felt very disappointed and started heading home. But on the way, an officer stopped him. The officer gave him another chance to build a machine gun. Kalashnikov took the opportunity seriously and worked hard. Soon, he built a new gun. Its testing was also successful, but it still wasn't selected. He was heartbroken. Around that time, the news came that Germany had surrendered. The war was over. Everyone was happy, but Kalashnikov was sad, thinking that his gun was now no longer needed. He met the official at the Arms Institute and said he wanted to go home. The officer silently handed him a paper. It said that making weapons was still necessary. Kalashnikov went back to work, learned from his past mistakes, and built a new gun. 2 years later, the new AK-47 was ready. Its first test was done on a drum, and every bullet hit the mark. He was very happy, but just then, guards arrived. Since he didn't have permission to test it, they caught him. But Kalashnikov was smiling. He was confident of his success. He was taken to the general. The general himself was also a gun designer. Kalashnikov opened his gun in front of him and separated all the parts in just a few seconds. The general was amazed. He had never seen such a simple and strong gun before. He allowed Kalashnikov to participate in the competition. Now the contest began. All the guns were first dipped in water and then rolled in sand. Most of them jammed. Finally, it was the AK-47's turn, and it fired without stopping. Not a single bullet missed. Kalashnikov won, and mass production of the AK-47 began. In 1949, when he joined the parade and saw that every soldier was carrying the gun he had built, he felt incredibly proud. Even though the AK-47 wasn't used in that war, today more than half the countries in the world use it. It became not only the most used rifle, but also the one responsible for the most deaths. But remember,
The boy spent all his savings to buy 10 boxes of seaweed, but after frying it in oil, he found it tasted bitter and harsh. He had hoped to make a fortune selling seaweed, but now, he could not create the flavor he wanted. So he sold his computer and bought 100 more boxes. Hot oil left scars on his arms, but the taste was still wrong. Soon, he ran out of seaweed again. Just as he was about to give up and leave, he spotted a forgotten bag of seaweed on the ground. He decided to try one last time. After frying it, he noticed the seaweed was different. He quickly took a bite. The crispy texture and perfect flavor finally made him smile. At that moment, he understood why. The bag of seaweed had fallen the day before when he walked home in the rain. It had been soaked overnight, losing its saltiness and becoming soft. That was the secret to good seaweed.
He immediately started packaging and selling it. The seaweed became a big hit, but when he calculated the profit, he felt disappointed. With the current margin, he could only make $1 million a year, but his father had gone bankrupt and owed $40 million. He had to find a better way to make money. One day, the boy noticed there were 3 convenience stores just 1 street from his home. If he could sell his seaweed in those stores, he could make a lot more. The next day, he went to the headquarters of a major convenience store chain to meet the market manager, but the manager refused to even taste his sample. He said the packaging was too large and the price too high, so it did not meet store standards. The boy said nothing and left. He hired a design company to redesign the packaging. Then he returned to the headquarters with the new version, but the receptionist said the manager was in a meeting. The boy waited the whole day, only to realize the manager was avoiding him. Frustrated, he left, throwing the seaweed to the elevator operator on his way out. A buyer rode the elevator and noticed the new package. He grabbed a few packs out of curiosity. On the way back to his office, he opened one and started eating. The taste was so good he even licked his fingers clean. Then he shared the seaweed with coworkers and even the manager. That was how the boy got called back to the company. The manager decided to place the seaweed in 72,000 convenience stores nationwide. But there was one condition: the factory had to meet hygiene standards. This troubled the boy. He did not have a factory. So he sold his car, rented a factory on the outskirts, and quickly renovated it. He also hired workers. But during the inspection, the manager saw that the workshop lights were missing, the drainage was exposed, and workers wore no gloves. He gave the boy 3 days to fix everything. The boy accepted all the advice and worked hard to fix every problem. Finally, the inspection report came. He stood in the sunlight, excited, reading the paper. It said he passed. 2 weeks later, he signed a deal with the snack company. 2 years later, he paid off all his father's debts. Many years later, his seaweed business reached $15 billion in sales. He even owned a seaweed farm. The boy spent all his savings to buy 10 boxes of seaweed.
Do you hate that all these games get in front of your beautiful wallpaper? Get Hype instead. Play thousands of games with a single download.
Roblox, but I have to find all my body parts. Oh hey, there's my torso. Thank you.
They say that if someone points a shotgun at you, all you need to do is hide behind a fish tank to avoid getting hit. To test this claim, Adam added a few drops of blue dye into the tank to better observe how the bullets would travel.
This boy was playing game console, but suddenly the power went out. So he asked his grandma for money to buy batteries, but she turned out her empty pockets. The boy didn't believe. He searched the house, but couldn't find anything valuable. So the boy decided to take revenge on his grandma. He kicked a bowl to the ground, then stole her only pair of shoes, and threw it in the trash heap. When grandma was sleeping, the boy secretly took her hairpin, planning to exchange it at the market for batteries. But after checking many stores, he couldn't find batteries that fit his game console. Without her shoes, his grandma had to work in the fields barefoot, guilty about stealing. He was too ashamed to face his grandma. However, the grandma didn't scold him. She just silently took him home. It was then that he noticed a broken spoon was stuck in grandma's hair, but he still didn't dare admit he'd stolen the hairpin. When the grandma called him to eat lunch, the boy listlessly refused. The grandma asked what he wanted to eat. He said he wanted KFC and showed her a picture. So the grandma took a lot of dried vegetables, intending to sell them at the market to buy some chicken. But on her way home it started raining. Without umbrella, the grandma could only walk slowly in the rain. When she got home and saw the boy sleeping, she thoughtfully covered him with a quilt. Then, even without changing her wet clothes, she went to the kitchen to cook the chicken. But when the boy woke up, he was angry because his grandma had made boiled chicken instead of fried chicken. The boy knocked over the bowl. Then he continued sleeping. Late at night, the boy woke up. He hadn't eaten dinner and hungry. Seeing the chicken his grandma had cooked was still there, so he wolfed down more than half of it. But the next morning, his grandma didn't get up. The boy then realized she was sick. He hurriedly covered her with a quilt. Seeing the spoon in her hair, he quietly put the hairpin back. While taking care of his grandma, he realized that his elderly grandma seemed to be the one who truly deserved to be taken care. Finally, when it was time to part ways, the grandma gave him a small box. The boy quietly put it in his pocket. Then he sat on the handcart and went down the hill, but he fell heavily. He could only walk with a limp. Suddenly, he remembered the small box the grandma had given him. When he took it out and opened it, it was his game console, along with 2 bills. Clearly, this was the money his grandma had given him to buy batteries. The boy was so moved that he cried. If you have a grandfather or grandma at home.
A man accidentally stepped onto a steel cutting machine, but when the machine touched him, it split clean in half. Even the
This boy.
A man accidentally stepped onto a steel cutting machine, but when the machine touched him, it split clean in half. Even the massive sledgehammer that struck
struck him shattered to pieces, and the hydraulic press ripped apart like paper in front of him. All of this happened while trying to save Olive. Olive had accidentally welded herself inside a machine. Popeye was about to rescue her, but the sly Bluto beat him to it. Bluto, relying only on brute force, didn't care at all about Olive's safety. Luckily, Popeye stepped in just in time, grabbed a saw, and cut the machine in half. Olive came out completely unharmed and gave Popeye a grateful kiss. This made Bluto furious. He tried to pick a fight with Popeye, but ended up knocking Olive out instead. Dazed and confused, Olive stumbled onto the production line. By sheer luck, she stepped only on the safe spots as she wandered around. By the time Popeye woke up, Olive had already climbed onto a giant gear. Popeye rushed over to save her but was blocked by Bluto. Popeye swung the track and sent Bluto flying. Just as he tried to hook Olive to safety, Bluto threw a giant magnet at him. As Popeye pulled the chain back, Olive nearly fell straight into the furnace. Thinking fast, a man accidentally stepped on.
Godzilla had just bought a new watch. He was about to show it off to King Kong. The next second, the watch suddenly lit up. His enormous body immediately shrank. He hurriedly checked the watch. As a result, his body shrank again. Furiously, he roared at the sky. Godzilla shrank once more. From the size of skyscrapers, he became as small as an ant. Only then did he realize he had been scammed by the watch seller. Fuming with anger, it decided to return the product to the unscrupulous merchant. But the world around him had become unfamiliar. Ants that were once insignificant now stood taller than him. A bull skull on the ground looked like a mountain to him. Godzilla tried to communicate with a butterfly, but was cruelly ignored. In the distance, a lizard was staring at him. Godzilla roared with all his might. The lizard got scared and ran away. Godzilla kept walking. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. He looked up, and a giant human was walking toward him. The shadow under the foot loomed over him. He was about to be crushed. Luckily, there was a groove on the sole, and he narrowly escaped. The terrifying part was, his body kept shrinking, so small that he could only be seen with a magnifying glass. Godzilla had turned into a microbe. Everything around him was now bigger than him. Godzilla felt more helpless than ever before. Once a mighty titan beast, now he was afraid of everything. He continued moving through the microscopic world. Suddenly, he saw a tardigrade. This microbe was even smaller than him. Godzilla felt a bit of comfort and kicked it away. Unexpectedly, the tardigrade's mother was right behind it. Seeing her child bullied, she opened her massive mouthparts and lunged at him. Godzilla suddenly woke up. It was just a nightmare, and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. With trembling hands, he used his tail to turn on the bedside lamp. However, outside the window, a giant ant, over 100 meters tall, was roaming through the city. The real nightmare was only just beginning. Godzilla had just bought a new watch. He was about to... The monk spread his arms. Two sharp knives hung under his...
The man was shocked when he saw a falcon sheltering a kitten.
This zookeeper kept tricking the hippos by pretending he brought them watermelon, their favorite treat, but giving them something else instead. When feeding time came, the hippos eagerly waited for watermelon, but the man would sneak tiny pieces of fruit and veggies in.
The girl had the power to turn anything into gold. She had turned everything in the manor into gold. Before...
Yes? Disregard no. Please fruit. Please fruit. No. No. I don't think. Please, fruit. Belak serba saya cuma belak serba bagi mana kita bagi mana belak frustun belak kai perlu didla jual bagi mana frustun hidi itu kan bagi mana bahas lele fruit dia apa apa lele fruit ni dia Please fruit. Please fruit. Please fruit. Please fruit. Stop. Please fruit. Please fruit. Please stop. What the fuck is this? Burning bird. Burning bird. It's a burning bird crazy. Yes, burning bird. Burning bird. Yes, burning bird you look crazy. Let's go. एक बड़ी बड़ी ऐसे गाड़ा लोग ऐसे ये नजर आएगा वो गाड़ा लोग ऐसे stupid. Please fruit. Please fruit. Please fruit. No. I got it. I will see you. Мне фрустил гудлю. Да мог фрут, сам я фрут. Sita, ये कुकुर को बल्टी बोर्ड लगी है हमारे बल्टी बोर्ड कैसे कुकुर तो बल्टी बोर्ड है ओके यार कुकुर तो बल्टी बोर्ड Sampai sana mau saya fruit ase, udah mau balik server join koi pala. Back karo. Back one of the bestest way how money farm kora fruits poa hai. Bagging fastest way how money. Kabo kam karo area de jam bag please put kore mai fruit di dibo. Hello na. Great. Yes, that's what I want to do. For the trick, yes. Soon for back for that. Back for that. something else. Something else. Thing. Ooh ha ha ha. What the fuck is that? What please? Dad, please. There is place.